What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel and my review of The Mandalorian, Episode 3. This episode begins with Mando returning to the same planet we saw in the first episode, and he actually hands over Baby Yoda, something that I didn't think he was going to do. And the Imperials make good on their promise, and they give him his reward, a bunch of sweet Beskar steel. And it's in the scene that we see the first sort of chink in Mando's emotional armor. As he's standing there holding his reward, he asks him, "What are your plans with the child?" It's funny how Werner Herzog's dialogue is really more of a narration of the scene itself. He's sort of describing how odd it is that the Mandalorian is asking a question, about what are their intentions with the bounty. The contract's complete. Here's your reward. You should be walking away. Why do you care? So then Mando takes the steel back to the Mandalorian covert, which is sort of the hiding place where all the Mandalorians are, and begins to have a new suit of armor made. And in this scene, we see some dialogue with other Mandalorians and how they're resentful that the Beskar steel was stolen during the Purge by the Empire. And there's this one big, outspoken Mandalorian who holds up a piece of the Beskar, and he's just disgusted that the Imperial symbol is on the Beskar steel. He's also upset that Mando is sharing a table with the Empire, but we know this is just a contract. The two of them have a little altercation, and the one that actually forges the steel doesn't necessarily break up the fight, but reminds them of their Mandalorian lore and where their priorities should be. And then she follows that up with the phrase, "This is the way." To which all the Mandalorians reply, "This is the way." I love all the lore building they're doing in this episode. I love the introduction of the other Mandalorians. We find out that the Purge, wasn't just Order 66, but there was also some Mandalorians that were also killed and wiped out during the Purge. And what we can assume that all the remains of the Mandalorians is actually here in this one covert. So now with all new armor, he heads back to the cantina where he picks up another bounty puck, heads to his ship, and takes off to go on another adventure. Now, unfortunately for him, but fortunate for us, I think his conscience gets the best of him, and he decides to go back and rescue Baby Yoda. And this is when the episode just hits this whole new level of awesome. Any nitpicking that you could have done with the first part of this episode is completely gone by this point. I mean, it's just so awesome. We have basically the Mando becoming John Wick. He goes back, he takes out all the stormtroopers, he rescues Baby Yoda, and he's headed back to his ship. And in a scene very reminiscent to John Wick, where all their cell phones go off when they get a new contract, all the fobs, the tracking fobs, begin to go off once he's left the Empire's compound with Baby Yoda. He gets surrounded by all the other bounty hunters, including Grief Karga. There's this massive shootout. He's got the upper hand for a little bit. Just when you think the Mandalorian's going to get out of there, the tables sort of turn, and he's stuck, he's trapped, he's pinned. It looks like maybe Baby Yoda's going to have to bail him out. We don't know. And then all of a sudden, every Mandalorian that was in hiding, all of his brothers and sisters, are there to come to his defense. They show up. Everybody's in jetpacks. You've got guys with pistols. You've got the big guy showing up with the. It's like a minigun, and this was really reminiscent of like the end of Iron Man 3. I even saw glimpses and inspirations from Predator. I mean, just the minigun. Also, there's a scene earlier where he's using his rifle and he's looking through the thermal imaging camera, I guess, or the scope. And it just really, I don't have a problem with movies that are inspired by other good movies using those scenes sporadically in their films. I mean, it's there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with inspiration. It's not a direct copy. It really enhances what's going on there, and it fits this narrative. It fits this story. This is a gritty. I was going to say war film, but it's not necessarily a war film. It's just a sort of a gritty movie. And I think that, listen, honestly, I think that if any one of us saw the Predator alien walking in the background of the cantina, it wouldn't seem out of place. And with all the Mandalorians providing cover, Mando escapes to his ship with the Baby Yoda. Now, Grief Karga is actually in Mando's ship, and just when you think he's got the drop on him, Mando pulls a fast one, shoots him in the chest with his blaster, and takes off. Then as Mando begins to break through the atmosphere, you see one of the Mandalorians flying sort of side by side with him and give him a little salute. And Mando says, "I got to get me one of those." It was really cool. It was really sort of Iron Man-esque, kind of like I don't like War Machine flying next to Iron Man. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not direct copies. I don't feel like it's some sort of ripoff. It's just an inspiration, and it works well for this scene. And then the last thing we see is Grief Karga is actually okay because he had a little bit of Beskar steel in his little chest pocket because that was part of his reward from the Empire, I guess, for the contract. So there's some significance there. I'm not sure what it is, but I mean, I'm left to think that Mando thinks that Grief is dead. So I think that's going to work for Grief's benefit in the future, but who knows where that storyline is going to go. And back during the firefight, there was mention that the Mandalorians are going to have to now relocate the covert, which is, I guess, their hiding place. And it was understood that that was the risk they were going to have to take to save another Mandalorian brother. So I'm curious to see where they relocate the covert. I mean, what planet will they go to? How will that play into the films or the rest of the series? I mean, I'm curious to see where they set up shop. So for me, this was the best episode so far. I understand we're only 3 episodes in, but I mean, this was just so good. The direction was so great. Now, this episode was directed by Deborah Chow, and I believe she's going to direct all the Obi-Wan series. So I'm really, really excited to see how that's going to play out. I love the way this looked. I love the action in this. It should be interesting to see if maybe, just maybe, the Obi-Wan series and the Mandalorian series sort of tie in together. So for me, this episode gets a 9 out of 10. They hit it out of the park, but those are just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments section. Like if you like the video, subscribe if you like my content. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.